What's going on, shipmates? We are back here in Echo. It is finally done. The tier list URMR is completed. I'm here to present it to you guys. It's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to go over a few kind of like, not rules, but like outlines and stuff that I'm going to be doing in this video. And then I'm going to jump straight into it because we do have a lot of units to go over. So first and foremost, this is like my 5th time redoing this. I just keep finding kind of more efficient ways to get you guys the information and as quick as possible. I don't want it to be too long. Like I think the first video I did was like hour and 45 minutes, so that's crazy. We're not doing that. So not trying to waste your guys' time. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through one by one and kind of go over their skills, their skill 1, skill 2, ultimates, passives real quick, and then I'm going to hit it with the rank. If it's a, so I'll say this first. With the way it's laid out, D, C, B, A, S, and then SS. So that's my tier list. That's the rankings. If they have a grade of B or lower, I'm not going to go too far in depth. Just kind of give you guys the basics and be like, hey, this is what they do, not much else. B, C, or D. If they're A or S and SS, then I'm going to go a little bit more in depth and detailed just to kind of show you guys why they're definitely better and why they stick out. Now, lastly, the thing I'm going to go over is the reason why I'm putting these here, because when it comes to these units, right, these cases, for whatever type they are, DPS, tank, or okay, so for example, all DPS unit URs have the same stats. So if they're DPS, they're so for example, Vika here, 612, 748, right? If we go to find another DPS, 612, 748, right? That baseline is going to be the same regardless. So even if you level them both up 10, they're going to be at the same stats. What sets them apart is their skills and how much contribution they bring to the team for what their role is. So best example of that, is like tanks. There are obviously there's different types of tanks. Now, what does the tank actually do? Is it doing damage? 1. 2, is it doing damage and giving shield? Great. 3, is it giving damage, shield, and healing? Even better. 4, there are a couple of them doing damage, healing, shield, and giving buffs, damage reduction, things of that nature. So that's where you get into the higher rankings, S, SS, when they're doing so many other roles where you can pretty much have one case doing 3 or 4 roles on a team, and then you could just put a bunch of DPS units and just really hammer out that damage. So anyway, that's a little bit too much into like team building. That's a different video. So, but yeah, I'm going to go through this. I'm pretty much going to start here at the bottom with Osiris. And I'm just going to go from here kind of in order for all the ones that I don't have. And then once we get to there, I'm going to jump up to the ones I do have. Then I'm going to come back down and do the MRs, right? I'll do the MRs last. So that's about it. Let's get into it. So first and foremost, let's go Osiris. So Osiris, skill 1, 274% damage to 1. Skill 2 is 186% AoE damage. Other than that, that's really about it for her. Not too much else when it comes to buffs. So because of that, she's getting a B rank. All right, next we got Gangleri. Skill 1, 145% front row. Skill 2, 297 AoE. Ultimate is 300% AoE damage. But when it comes to the actual support, there's not much going on. She's not really giving that many like buffs or anything like that. So this is just restoring HP, increase defense by 10%, only 3 stacks. So there's some other units that do way more stacks, things of that nature. So because of that, I'm giving her a C. All right, next thing we got Elixia, DPS unit. So next is Elixia. This is going to be our first A rank. So here we go, a little bit more in depth. So skill 1 is going to be 145% to front row enemies. That's the 3 in the front. plus a 220% damage hit to the enemy with the lowest HP. And then if they have the snooze effect, it's going to be additional 200% damage. Skill 2, 186% to AoE, absorbing 20 HP from the enemy as well. Now, ultimate here, 300% AoE plus 200% times the number of I think it's Dream. Wrong one. Let's double check. I just want to double check real quick. Oh, yeah, damage equal to the Dreamland stacks. So Dreamland stacks times 200%. So that could be up to 3 or 4. Massive damage going on. So, and then her passive is just the snooze being passed on and activated with a 200% damage hit. So because of that, she gets an A. Very good. All right, so next we got Alina. Support unit skill 1, 274% to 1. Skill 2, 297% damage to 1. Ultimate is 300% AoE, and the AoE is area of effect, so that's going to be the whole team. And the passive is only just really getting a 50% shield, so because of that, she gets a B. All right, moving on. Next, we have Samovila. So support unit again, right? So skill 1 here, 201% to 3 plus healing to 3. Skill 2, 411% damage to 3 in the front, plus a stunning 1 unit and HP heal. Very good, very good. That's very good for supporting. Passive is just going to be some buffs, mainly defense, damage reduction, things of that nature. And ultimate is going to be 445% damage to 4 enemy units. And because of that, and all that good damage as a support unit, she's going to be getting an A. All right, moving on. Next, we have Vika, DPS unit. All right, so skill 1, 210% to 3, plus 300% with the Tempest effect. Skill 2, 186 AoE, plus 50% crit chance and crit damage. Her passive is just going to be activating that Tempest effect and a guarantee to hit. So even if units have conceal or anything like that where they can dodge a hit, her hits are guaranteed to hit with the passive. And then the ultimate, 300% AoE plus anybody with Tempest gets damage as well. So because of those extra hits and that guarantee to hit, she gets a rank of A. Moving on, Vika. So next we got Christie. She is a tank. So skill 1, 201% to 2. Skill 2, 277 to a cross-shaped area, plus a 30% max HP to all units to your allies. Passive is a 50% shield. Ultimate is 445% damage to a cross area, and again a healing with a minor shield. I believe it was like 20 or 30%. So because of that, she gets an A. Next we got Anna. All right, Anna. So this star note, pay attention. Here we go. Anna's a DPS unit, skill 1, 145% damage, plus 300% damage, plus 300% damage, plus attack being increased by 30%. Skill 2, 297% damage, plus 300, plus another 300, plus another 500% damage. All that's getting done. Ultimate skill, 300% AoE, plus a 300% damage hit, plus shield absorption from the enemy team. Passive is going to be a 200% hit plus 400% hit with those with Heart Snatch. So Anna gets a rank S, even though she is a UR. If she's paired with the right team, she's going to do massive amounts of damage. Massive, massive, massive. This is something I'm actually going to be playing with because I don't have her. I'm going to chase after her a little bit and kind of mess with it. But yes, very, very good unit. Moving on. All right, so next we got Prinny. So DPS unit, skill 1, 274 to 1, skill 2, 186% to area of effect, AoE. Passive is Spattle Marker, which is one of the main things you're going to need to pay attention to when using this unit. If they have that, it's going to be a 300% hit. Ultimate is 300% AoE plus 60% damage to any enemies with low HP. Because of that, she gets a rank A. And moving on, so next is Morai. So tank, Once again, skill 1, 145 to 3 in the front, plus 30% healing and shield. Skill 2 is 297 to 3 in the front, plus only a 30% shield. Passive is going to be shield and damage redirecting to her for your allies. And then ultimate is going to be 300% AoE plus immunity for 1 round and some healing. So not bad. Because of that, she gets a grade of A. All right, moving on. We got Luciene here. Here we go. Let's talk about this a little bit more. Support unit, skill 1 and 2 is healing AoE, 2 different percentages, but they do give a 30% max HP on top of that. The ultimate is going to be 300% heal after each round. And then for the passive, it's going to be more healing, more shields, AoE for the whole team. I give her a rank of A, and it's mainly because she is a pure healer. That's all she's doing is healing, not any damage being put out, but in the support of keeping your team alive, it's like constant. Everything she's doing is just healing, team heal, things of that nature. So because of that, she gets an A. All right, moving on. So next we have Renne up here, the next row. Excuse me. Skill 1, 145 to 3 in the front. Skill 2, 277 to 3. Passive is a 50% shield. Let me just double check. Oh, she enters this puppet master state. That's what it is. So if she's a puppet master, self-removes control effects, executor is increased damage, and then ultimate is going to be 445 to 3. But there's not too much else going on other than the damage, and then her attack is low. So because of that, she's getting a B. All right, moving on. Next is going to be Kleona, tank, skill 1, 145 to 3, skill 2, 297 to 3. Passive is just going to be shielding, and ultimate is 300% AoE. Not too much else. She's getting a rank of B. Oops, my fault, shipmates. That's actually, I read the wrong one. Natalia, I skipped over. So what I just said, S1 145, ultimate 300 AoE, just passing with shield, she gets the rank of B. Kleona actually is different, so I'll go over this again. Skill 1 is 145 to 3 plus 220 to 1. Skill 2 is 297% damage to 3 plus a shield. Passive is shield, more shields, and then her ultimate is 300% AoE with shield AoE, full team. So because of that, she's doing multiple roles. She gets an S tier ranking. All right, moving on. Next, we have Lydia, DPS unit, skill 1, 145 to 3 in the front, plus a crit chance of being 50% more and crit damage. Skill 2, 297% damage to 3 in the front, with again crit damage and crit rate possible 50% being added. Passive is target lock. That's going to be her main little buff that she needs to work well. And then her ultimate is 300% damage AoE plus with heal and dealing an extra 300% damage with those with target lock. All right, moving on. Next we have Suri, DPS unit, skill 1, 145 to 3 in the front, skill 2, 297 to 3 in the front. They both have the crit rate, chance of being 50% and damage as well. I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong one again. They're so close together. Scratch all that, starting over. Skill 1 for Suri, 145 to 3, skill 2, 297 to 3 in the front. Her passive is going to be Jelly Belly, what gives her some little bit of buffs, but nothing too crazy. And her ultimate is just going to be a 300% damage AoE. She gets a C. All right, moving on. Next, we have Kalinca. She is DPS unit, skill 1, 145 to 3, skill 2, 186% AoE, not too much. Passive is just crit increase and damage increase, and the ultimate is just 300% AoE. Because of that, she gets a rank of B. And then next, we're going to actually be moving up to now the units that I do own. Starting here with Ziz. All right, so skill 1 is just going to be some shielding, not too much damage going on. Skill 2 is 186% AoE. Her passive is just her skill being released. And then her ultimate is just going to be 300% to AoE with a little bit of like I think it's like 30% increase crit, and that's going to be it. Because of that, she gets a B. She's not really doing too much damage output. All right, next we have Eton. So Eton here, DPS unit, skill 1, 274% damage times 2 to one enemy. Skill 2 is 186% AoE, ultimate 300% AoE with conceal for her, and a hit back, or like damage being hit back to the enemy. And then her passive, the one you're going to want to focus on, is Frost Seal. So because of that, pretty decent. She gets a grade of A. Next we have, come on, we have support unit Lascoux or Lascoux. Nothing too much going on here. Skill 1, 145 to 3. Skill 2, 186% to AoE. Her passive and her ultimate isn't much else, and she's not really giving a lot of buff percentages. They're pretty low. So because of that, she gets a D. All right, moving on. Next we have Scarlet. She is a DPS unit, Empire faction. Skill 1 is 200% to 1. Skill 2 is 411% to 2 enemies, and ultimate is 445 to 1. Decent DPS, I mean, not too bad, but her damage is being single target. There's some other single targets that do a lot better job, so because of that, she's going to get a rank of B. All right, moving on to the next one, we have Mira. She is a healer. Skill 1 is just healing. Skill 2 is more healing. Passive and ultimate is going to be checkpoint and buffs. The healing isn't much, low percentages, not compared to like someone like Luciene. So because of that, she's only getting a rank of B. Next, we have the first collab, I believe. Elie, what is it? Not McDonald. That's crazy. McDowell. Skill 1 is 201% to 2 enemies. Skill 2 to 25% healing. Passive is 35% increased damage, and ultimate is 40% healing AoE. That is a C rank. She doesn't get much done. Other than that, we're moving on. Next, we have Holy Lady Vivi. Very interesting unit, not bad. DPS unit, skill 1, 145%. Damage to 1 plus 260 to 1, so getting a double hit there. Can be two different units, not the same one. Skill 2 is 297 to 3 plus a 30% shield. Passive is these stacks, that she gets, and the more stacks is a little bit more buffs in that nature. And then her ultimate is 300% AoE plus an additional 625% damage to 3. So because of that, she gets a rank of A. Moving on, next one we're gonna have Mel. Mel is a DPS unit. Skill 1, 145% to 3 plus 300% damage to those with sand, quicksand to them effect. Skill 2 is 279% to 3 plus another 300% damage to sand. Her passive is the effects, a little bit more effects, not just the quicksand, but quicksand also starts with her passive. And then her ultimate is 300% AoE damage plus 400% to those enemies that have this quicksand effect on them. So because of that, Mel actually gets an S rank. There's a lot of damage going on. If you add those together, you got 445, 579, and 700%. That's pretty good for a UR. Very high damage. And then once the sand kind of goes away, it just kind of gets transferred. So she's pretty good. So now moving on to the next one, we have Serenelle. I'm still butchering these names after 2 years playing this game. Anyway, skill 1, 145 to 3 in the front, plus 300% to the 3 in the front. Skill 2 is 186% to AoE plus a 400% damage to 3 in the front. Passive and ultimate, I'll say the ultimate first, 300% AoE plus a 50% crit rate and crit damage increase. The thing about Serenelle here is her T sampling. She has a lot of effects: T sampling, T gathering, T garden. But because of that, she can't necessarily activate her limit break. But after her passive, when she enters these other states like Tea Garden, it only lasts for 1 round. And after that, once she exits, she activates her ultimate. So she's actually, there's a chance, I have to mess around with it, but there's a chance of her actually doing her ultimate more often than not. So because of that and the high damage and the Tea stuff, some of the effects actually help you. So it's not too much of a delay either when it comes to outputting that damage. So because of that, Serene gets an S rank. So moving on, we have the next one. We have Kira from East Rise. She is a support unit. Skill 1, 145% damage to 3, plus another 220% damage to 1. Skill 2, 297% damage to 3, plus a damage limit putting on the enemies where they can only, I think it's like, it cannot exceed a certain percentage of your allies' HP. Passive is just a bunch of buffs you can read into, and the ultimate is 300% AoE, plus a 30% additional to low HP, plus another 150% damage to some of those with the buffs that she gives out. So very, very good unit. A lot of stuff going on. You can read kind of in detail to kind of figure out how she works and how she could help your team in more than one way. Because of that, she gets an S tier ranking. Next, we have, let's get the next one. Oh, bam. Tomie is a tank. I did use this unit, so I didn't think too much of her at first, and I actually gave her a higher ranking once I kind of actually read about her and what she could potentially do maxed out. So skill 1, 274% to 1. Skill 2, 560% to 1. Ultimate is 661% damage to 2 units. The main thing about Tomie is she has the ability to revive for 2 instances. So she can revive herself when she gets fully knocked out, 1 time per battle, and she can also revive 1 ally when they are fully knocked out, 1 time per battle. So that's 2 technically revives that can happen. But her actual skills, I mean, it's only to 1 essentially. Her ultimate is to 2 enemies, but other than that, there's no other effects, no other shielding, nothing else. So because of that, she gets an A instead of a S. So A rank for her. Next, moving on. Slight pauses because I'm actually writing down these times so you guys can look them up quicker. So next we have Hathor, DPS unit, skill 1, 274% to 1, skill 2, 411 to 1 row, either the back or the front. Passive is shields, ultimate is 661 to 2. Not too much else going on, nothing really else DPS wise, a little bit limited, so because of that she gets a B. Moving on. Next is Sphinx, skill 1, 247 to 1, skill 2, 297 to 1, ultimate 478 to 3. DPS unit gets a rank of B. Next we have, excuse me, you are Ring. She gets a rank of D. I used her, not a lot going on. Healing wasn't that impressive, and her HP was actually kind of a bit, not lower, but she got knocked out pretty quick every time for every match. So because of that, she wasn't that great. Moving on. So next we have Lorine. DPS unit, skill 1, 274 to 1, skill 2, 297 to 3. Ultimate, very basic, 300 AoE. And then that's about it. She gets a ranking of C. All right, trying to speed this up. We're a little bit halfway through. Let's keep it going, shipmates. Next, we have Rixia A. 274 to 1, 411% damage to 2. Passive is shield of 30%. Ultimate is 495 to 1. DPS unit, she gets a rank of A. She is decent, but she was a collapse, so you can't really get her anymore. Moving on, next we have Dominica. Skill 1, 274 to 1, skill 2, 560% to 1. Passive is a goat spawn, and ultimate is 810% to 1. Possible S tier, but very, very high A tier ranking, because that goat spawn can be up to 2 enemies that they give that to, and essentially replaces them with a goat, and they cannot attack or do anything like that. They just take damage, so that's good. Moving on, next we have Rixia support unit, 145 to 3 to the front, plus poison, 186 AoE, ultimate 300% AoE. That's about it. Not really much support. So the only thing she's really doing is poison. Because of that, she gets a rank of B. Next, we have Sharon. Skill 1, 152% to 1, while healing 60%. Skill 2 is 248 to 3, plus 30% shield. Passive is 50% shield with a 20% redirect to her, so that's great as a tank. Ultimate is 445% to 1, plus 50% shield increase and invincibility for 1 round. Because of that, she gets an A. Moving on. Next, we have Coretta. 145% to front row, 297 to front row, while giving burn effect to the enemy team, or to one enemy. Passive is going to be haze, which contributes to the burn. Ultimate is 478 to the front row, plus another 300% damage to those with haze. Burn does 300% damage at the end of each round. Whoever has it, she gets a rank of A. Moving on, next we have Kabui. Oh wait, oh no, that's right. Let's back out, because now we're finished with those, and now we're going into what I actually have on my team. So Kabui's first. Next, 210% to 2, skill 2, 297% to 3, ultimate is 478% to 3. Not much else going on. She does take some time to build up. So because of that, she gets a rank of B. Next, we have Rosabelle. Rosabelle DPS unit, skill 1, 145%. HP healing to 3 instead of damage. Skill 2 is 240% damage to 3, plus 350 bonus damage. Passive is her ultimate gets activated, and then her ultimate is actually 300% AoE, plus 350% of shield. Not bad. She gets an A. She is a good, decent unit. Now, the last we're going over is a Hun. One of my personal favorites. I am going to try to keep her on the team. Side note. So, excuse me. DPS unit, skill 1, 145 to 3, plus 160% damage, ignoring shield. Skill 2 is 400% to the front row. Her passive is invincibility. Keynote, only 2 units so far in the whole game to have that. And her ultimate is 300% damage to all, plus a max HP increase of 20%, plus 15% increase of attack damage, plus what does that say? Shield, redirecting shield, and then restoring HP by 30% to some allies. So a lot going on for ultimate. Because of that, she gets an S rank. Now we're going to go back down, and now we're going to be getting into the actual MRs now. We're going to start here with Masa, and here we go. Masa, skill 1, 157 to 3 in the front, skill 2, 319 to 3, and giving exposure. Her passive is getting that exposure effect to the enemy, and her ultimate is 521% to 3 in the front. So very good damage. S tier. Focusing for her is going to be having that exposure being worked out. All right, next we have Phoebe. Interesting unit, newest one here. 157% damage to 3 in the front, 200% damage for skill 2 AoE, plus 300% AoE, so a double hit there. Passive is going to be damage decreased by 20%, and ultimate is 326% damage AoE. She is an S, high tier S with a low tier SS, and that's mainly because she does have these weather sense stacks, and the more stacks she has, the more damage she's doing, and the more potential healing reduction, all this other stuff. And it's quick. By the end of the first round, or the first time getting through her first skill, second skill, and her ultimate, she's going to be having about 16 to 20 weather sense. So you do that by second time around. By the fourth round, she should be about 40 to 50 stacks, almost maxed out. So because of that, she's the S tier, high S tier, possibly low SS tier if nobody else really comes out to beat her. Next, we have Nana. Nana is a no-no. So 157% to 3 in the front. Skill 1, skill 2, 319% to 3 in the front. Ultimate is 521% to 3 in the front. So very decent damage getting output for her being a support unit, not a DPS. But her passive is these chess pieces, right? That's her thing. And that takes a little bit too long to build up during a match. She has to make them pawns to rooks to knights, and then they get to become kings and queens, and there's just too much buildup. So because of that, she's a low tier S, possibly even, in my opinion, an A rank. But for now, just low tier S. And moving on to Coco Peely. 2 DPS unit, 296% damage to 1. Skill 2, 600% damage to 1 times 2. So 2 different units. Ultimate is 980% damage to 1. This is our first SS rank. Her damage output is the highest, hands down. In the game, nobody else is doing more than 980% damage to 1. It is a single target, but with that amount of damage, you're knocking them out pretty quick. So yeah. Passive is just little things to help her do even more damage. So great unit. All right, moving on. Now we're going to be going up here to the top to finish this out. Bear with me as we roll. Here we go. So now we're on to Rorza. Support unit. Excuse me. Skill 1 to 157% damage to 3 in the front. Second skill, 319% to 3 in the front. Ultimate is 521 damage to 3 in the front. And her passive is excitement. Excitement is the key to this unit. You want as many excitement buffs and skills getting put out there. And as her being a support unit, she's actually putting out decent amount of damage. So you can kind of build her two ways. You can build her to be a little bit more tanky and to help keep the team afloat, giving out those buffs, or you can have her do her regular buffs and just have her be a little bit more heavier damage. So because of that, she is an SS rank supporter. Next, we got a few more left, shipmates, and then we're going to wrap it up a lot quicker than the first couple. Next, we have Ashiri. 157% to 3 in the front. Skill 2, 319% damage to 3 in the front. Ultimate is 521% damage to 3 in the front. We're seeing a pattern here. She is a DPS unit. With the ultimate, you get additional 500% damage to those with low HP. Passive is going to be giving out this hum, and with that hum, she gets more stacks, doing more skills and that of nature. Because of that, she gets an S ranking. Next, we have I forgot to write down that time. Oh well. Lyora. Hands down, one of my favorite units so far in this game. She is a tank. Skill 1, 217% damage to 2. Skill 2, 441% damage to 2. Ultimate is 720% damage to 2 enemies. The main thing about her is because she's a tank, she's putting out a lot of damage for a tank, and her water element has crazy amounts of healing effects, additional more buffs for other units with water as well as her. So because of that, she gets an SS rank. And moving on, next we have MR Kala. DPS unit, skill 1, 296 to 1. Skill 2, 441% AoE. Ultimate is 720% damage to 2. She does have that effect where she transforms into a butterfly. So in that butterfly state, 296% damage to 2 for skill 1. Skill 2 is 441% AoE plus a double hit, and ultimate stays the same. Her passive is just turning into that butterfly, so because of that, she gets an S rank. Next, we have Shu. Shu is a support unit, 157% damage to 3 in the front, 319 to 3 in the front. Ultimate is 521. Ultimate, 521% damage to 3 in the front. Not too much, a little bit of support, but that ultimate does do a lot of damage for a support unit. Once again, a pattern. She gets a rank of S. Next, we have MR Bion. Wait, let me see if she's next. Nope. Boom. There she is. MR Bion. Very, very good. Another water unit. Healing. 217% damage to 2, 441% damage to 2, 720% damage to 2, plus healing, and her passive is shields. And once again, with water, she's given more buffs. Side note, Bion and Laura together on the same team could be very, very devastating. Bion gets an SS tier for a healer. Moving on to the last one, Katana. She is a tank unit. Skill 1, 296% damage to 1. Skill 2, 319% damage to 3. Skill 1 also gives a shield of 30%. Her passive is just her transforming into this warlord, giving a little bit more buffs. And then her ultimate is 521% to 3. She gets an S rank just because Lyora does a little bit more than her. So, that's it, shipmates. We did it. That's all of the units. Other than that, we kept it under 40 minutes, so not too bad. Next thing is going to be, I'm going to post this. I'm going to put all these times in the description and everything in there so you guys can quick jump to who you need to, along with their rankings next to them. And then I'm also going to be posting the actual tier list, actual physical tier list with everybody in the columns and everything in the rows for what rank they got. And I'll be actually posting that on my YouTube channel separately. So other than that, thanks for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. If any questions, anything like that. Thanks for watching, shipmates. Fair winds and following seas.